I just saw Morbius.
Morbius made me realize how truly and deeply empty I am on the inside, and it reminded me that I am in fact going to die one day. Thanks, Jared Leto. This is a call-out post to Jared Leto. Jared, if you somehow see this, I would like financial compensation. Not much. Just, maybe $200. $200 sounds good. Maybe 500. You know what? Fuck it. Give me $1 million, Jared. Give me $1 million. Send me $1 million right now, Jared Leto. I'm not even kidding around, dude. Morbius came out, and I saw it, and it exists, and I'm talking about it now. So, Morbius is the latest entry in the Sony universe of Spider-Man characters. I don't think that's the actual name of it. It has the name. I can't be bothered to remember it, though. It's essentially Sony trying to make money off the Spider-Man brand without actually using Spider-Man, which is a bold and unique tactic that I don't see a lot of studios trying very often. Unfortunately, it's producing a lot of failures. The Sonyverse began in 2018 with the release of Venom, starring Tom Hardy, which was the romance movie of the summer that year, probably. I don't remember if it came out in the summer or not, but I'm gonna say it did anyway. The Venom movies, for their apparent faults, are fun and enjoyable because Tom Hardy is just clearly having so much fun with it, and some of the action is kind of creative, I guess. That's it. That's all the Venom movies have going for them. At least the Venom movies feel like they're trying to do something. Do they succeed at what they're trying to do? I don't know. That's not up for me to decide. Morbius, on the other hand, feels like the studio went, okay, people like the Venom movies, and the Venom movies made a pretty decent amount of money. How about we try and do that again, but with another character, except this time it's a character that no one outside of 5 people cares about. Problem number 1 with making a Morbius movie is that you're making a Morbius movie. Who the fuck cares about Morbius in the year of our Lord 2022? Like, I know who Morbius is, I like Morbius, I do not care about Morbius. The only time I've cared about Morbius was in the 90s animated series when they gave him suckers on his hands because they couldn't show him feeding on blood. Going and watching an MCU movie is like going to a nice restaurant where most of the time the food you'll be getting is well made, it's decently cooked, and at the very least you'll enjoy it. Maybe there's a couple duds here and there, but you don't always have to order that. The Sony universe, on the other hand, is like going to fucking McDonald's and ordering like the shittiest food on the menu, aka 90% of the menu. You know it's bad for you, you know it's gonna make you shit yourself in 2 hours, but you go there anyway because hey, it's cheap and it's on the way, am I right? Morbius has very little of substance, and I'm going to talk about Morbius now because it's been about 3.5 minutes and I've not said anything about the movie. For starters, Morbius's pacing is kind of terrible. It's terrible. The movie begins with a flash forward to Michael Morbius going to do the bat signs, basically. Then we cut back 25 years to when he's a child and we meet him and his best friend Milo. His name isn't Milo, actually. His name is Lucian. So this kid is introduced as Lucian, but Morbius calls him Milo. And he's like, oh, yeah, no, you're not the first Milo. There were Milos before you. Essentially, what this scene is proving to us is that Michael Morbius is kind of a dehumanizing piece of shit, which I get because he has a blood disease. He's got super AIDS or something, and he's gonna die, probably. Even though he doesn't, for 30 years. The point of this flashback is meant to establish the relationship between Michael and, I guess, Milo. Yes, his name is Lucian, but from here on out, everyone calls him Milo. Because Michael called him Milo, he's Milo. This character is Milo, I guess. So then we jump back to the present, and we get a lot of exposition. The first like third of this movie is just exposition at you. I'm not even kidding. It's not even subtle. It's just Michael explaining his disease and explaining what he's trying to do, and then explaining his relationship to other people, and it's not good. We are also introduced to the other supporting characters, like Jared Harris from Chernobyl. He's in this movie. Even though he's barely in it, he's in this movie. Great. Good use of a brilliant actor, guys. Well done. Woo! We also are introduced to Martine Bancroft, Morbius's associate and also love interest. Side note, I didn't realize that her name was Martine until towards the end of the movie. I thought characters were referring to someone else, because I'm bad at comprehending film, I guess. I don't know. She is fine as a character. She's not boring and a plank of wood like Michael. Ayo. She's fine. She serves whatever role she's going for, which is a love interest and the anchor that's keeping Michael grounded. And we also are introduced to the best character in the entire movie, Milo, Matt Smith. Fellas, when I say this is the best Marvel villain of the last decade, I'm not fucking around. I'm not kidding. I'm not joking. Look me in my eye when I say this. Look me in my eye. Milo can solo Thanos, Darkseid, and any other fucking comic book villain. I do not care. Matt Smith is just having so much fun with this character in this movie. The best scene in the movie is him just like dancing by himself and making faces in the mirror, which is very funny. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, the reason that scene's in the movie is because, you know, he was physically sick for his entire life. So, of course, when he gets better and also buffer, he's going to dance around and be goofy. Yes, I agree with you. I see the vision, but it's also kind of goofy. He's the best character in the movie, and I'm glad that he does get a pretty decent amount of screen time because he's the highlight. If you're going to see Morbius, see it just for Matt Smith. Please. Matt Smith has a pretty bad track record with big franchises. Do you remember when he was in Terminator Genesis? You know, like the worst Terminator movie? He was supposed to be in Rise of Skywalker too, they just cut him out. Now let's talk about the man himself, Michael Morbius, Jared Leto. And oh man, I have nothing to say about him. I'm not kidding. I do not have anything interesting to say about this character. He is so nothing. Jared Leto's performance he's basically a plank of wood. There are moments where they attempt to have him, like, quip and say funny things, and it doesn't work because Leto's delivery is very stilted. This is the one instance that I would be fine with Jared Leto being a weirdo, but no, instead the character's boring. I don't care about his internal conflict. I don't care about anything that he's doing. I'm more interested in the villain. I feel like the easiest way to make this movie better would be to just switch Matt Smith and Jared Leto around. Have Matt Smith play the likable and tormented lead character and have Jared Leto be the weird, goofy, over-the-top villain like he usually is. Jared Leto is just... he's giving me nothing in this movie. And you could maybe argue that, oh, well, Michael Morbius is just like a normal guy, so why would he be weird? I don't know. I don't expect him to be super kooky or anything, just give me something from him. Between him being a plank of wood and Matt Smith being the goofiest man alive, this movie is just an absolute tonal fucking roller coaster. 1 minute, I'm bored out of my mind, and the next minute, I'm laughing my ass off. Well done, Sony, you've done it again. This movie was delayed quite a bit. Initially set to release in 2020, it came out this year, which, in case you haven't noticed, is quite a while away from 2020. Things have changed in the world since 2020, but this movie is still here and it exists. It came out April 1st, which, if that's not a beautiful summation of what this movie is, I don't know what they're smoking. I think a Morbius the Living Vampire movie does have some potential, I guess. They could take it in a more horror-based direction. You know, really play into the tormented monster angle or whatever, and give him someone interesting to fight. I love Matt Smith in this movie, but his character is just like, whatever, cool, I guess. If he was fighting, I don't know, Spider-Man maybe, or like any character that I know and could form an attachment to, great. But no, the movie makes Morbius into the hero, because if there's one thing that these Sony Marvel movies do, it's take a character who is usually a villain and make them an anti-hero. And you can say, well, Venom's an anti-hero nowadays anyway. Yes, and I still don't care. I wish these characters were villains. I wish they went all in on making Morbius a horrifying monster. He kills like 8 people on the fucking boat thing, but they were like mercenaries, so the police don't care. They make it out like he killed a nurse, but that was actually Matt Smith's character. So Morbius doesn't actually kill any innocent good people in this movie, which honestly that would have made a lot of the conflict more interesting. Like maybe if instead of his first rampage killing mercenaries, maybe he accidentally kills a bunch of innocent people who also happen to be on the boat. Then maybe we could have some conflict with Michael Morbius being like, oh my god, I'm a monster, I'm not a man anymore. I don't know, just give me something I can attach myself to, please, God. This movie is also like the longest 90 minutes of my life. It's literally 90 minutes and it felt like it was longer than the Batman. Wow, good job everyone. But in all honesty, I do hope that Morbius gets a sequel because I want to see what they would do for it, purely out of curiosity. Like looking at a car accident on the side of the road, I can't help but just stop to stare at it and maybe chuckle at it, maybe laugh at it, maybe, feel warmly about it. I don't know. I think the plan is that they're going to do a Sinister Six movie because Sony has been trying to make Sinister Six happen for like a decade now. Stop trying to make Sinister Six happen, Sony. It's not going to happen. Or maybe it will happen. I don't know, man. Honestly, the hard amount of copium I'm taking right now to deal with this movie is overwhelming me, and I feel my blood sugar levels rising as I talk about this.
Look, at the end of the day, some movies don't need to be made. Some movies don't need to exist. Like Morbius. Morbius doesn't need to exist. It doesn't need to be here. Whoever thought to make Morbius is a fucking idiot. You're an idiot. Sony, I hate you. I hate everything that you've done. You've turned me into an alcoholic. Frankly, it was going to happen sooner or later. I'm just surprised it happened now. Don't see Morbius, alright? Don't do it. Don't see Morbius. It's not good. It's not a good movie. Don't do it, please. I'm begging you. Don't see this fucking movie. It's so bad. Jared Leto, give me money. You piece of shit. Give me money. I'm Tozzarino, you're watching Tozzarino. You might see me again unless my alcohol poisoning inevitably kills me. So,